fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the stars and bars and weighing in officially at 334 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one. 63 victories, including 48 knockouts, with 2 defeats and 3 draws. From Jasper, Alabama, USA, the man known the world over for the excitement as well as the punching power he brings to the ring, here is an all-American icon, the IBA Super Heavyweight World Champion, Butterbean. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trimmed with red, he officially weighs 254 1/4 pounds. His professional record stands at 68 victories, including 44 wins by knockout with 6 defeats. Tonight will be his final bout, the final chapter in the history book of boxing of the career of one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, presenting the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the Eastern Assassin, Larry
instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands promptly and at all times, and above all else, protect yourselves at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
A big and enthusiastic crowd here at the Scope Arena. Nice moment for Larry Holmes. Nice moment.
Really is. People here for him. The ovation. He gets to get out there, show things. And, you know, for Butterbean, first time he's been an underdog. Somewhere between 6 and 25 to 1 based on things. So even though the early rounds are where he wants to make his mark, he has to overcome some jitters early too.
So here we go. Larry Holmes dancing around. Holmes said to us earlier, he thinks this is a 3-round fight. He said, I will land jabs and straight right hands. And he said, I will make him quit in about 3 rounds. The Holmes jab, of course, always a staple. Butterbean has had problems with fighters who stay on the outside and can do this to him.
And then can put in a second, third, and fourth jab, which is something he hasn't had in the other fights.
Right hand by Holmes, and Butterbean comes back with a right. Just 3 fights ago, Billy Zumbrun beat Butterbean in a decision win. Butterbean said he ran from him, but Zumbrun did enough to win the decision. Butterbean has been stopped before in his pro career. He has been down. Billy Eaton put him down early in his career. Holmes using that left jab. Neither man has been terribly busy, but Holmes has done virtually all of the landing and punching. Now see, when he gets on the inside, Butterbean can land a few things. He lands an overhand right to the head of Holmes. Did that hurt Larry Holmes?
Butterbean will not be cheated in any regard. He's going to take some good attempts on the inside. He just doesn't want to walk into one.
Remember, Holmes is 52 years of age. Now, he is 2-0 since he was 50, but he beat older fighters. Bone Crusher Smith, a man from his era, and Mike Weaver, a man from his era. And hasn't fought since November of the year 2000.
And he throws away the axiom that the power is the last thing to go in a fighter. Usually a guy can hang in there a long time if he's a banger. But Holmes did it with his jab.
I think Holmes' legs are defying him a little, and he was hurt by right hand by Butterbean.
Just missing there was Butterbean.
Holmes having trouble getting off a little bit now. His jab is landing, but not as effectively as early in the round. A little under a minute left to go in this round. Butterbean's had his moments with some overhand rights here. And the legs of Holmes didn't look very steady a moment or two ago. There's the jab again by Holmes. He's been unable to get the big right hand in behind it very much, and when he does, Butterbean has been countered.
Butterbean's been able to get there first when Larry Holmes tries to throw that right hand in behind it. As the nostalgia chant went up a few seconds ago for Larry Holmes.
So, an interesting tactical first round, which Holmes started out looking like, oh, there's the right. What did it do to Butterbean? He's still coming. Probably a round Holmes won because Bean hasn't landed that many punches.
Around to find out how much power does the other guy have.
There is the corner of Larry Holmes. We listen in.
Put them together. Coming fast. Just work together. Don't get fearless jumping inside, because that's what he's waiting on. Put them together. Right? All day long we got it.
Right here, power, and that's good.
Butterbean able to make his entrance as he takes a shot and then lands behind the head to the neck area and then drives Larry Holmes back. It's good for his confidence, if nothing else.
It only what it showed more than anything was the lack of balance that you can have when you're a 52-year-old fighter. We head into round two. I'm Al Bernstein along with Dave Bontempo. This is our main event of the evening, of course. Larry Holmes in the white trunks, the former world champion, 52 years old, against Butterbean, the king of the four-rounders, self-proclaimed and proclaimed by others, I'm sure, too. And in round one, Larry Holmes did what he wanted to do, threw jabs and straight right hands, and Butterbean occasionally did what he wanted to do, landing some awkward, powerful overhand rights.
Best thing for Butterbean is that he was able to show Larry Holmes that he was here.
Yeah, very good point, Dave. And that first big right hand that Holmes landed against him didn't shake it. Butterbean loath to rush in, as he knows there's a right hand behind those jabs that Larry Holmes is throwing. Neither man throwing much, and actually the crowd getting on him a little bit right now.
Right now the crowd might think respect. You're both giving too much of it.
That's right. It's the title of this fight. About a minute left to go. Overhand right misses by Butterbean. You get the feeling maybe Butterbean got a little respect with the power that he used in the first round against Larry Holmes. There's Holmes showing a little of that movement that, of course, he was so noted for in the old days. But more references will be made here to the Larry Holmes of the last decade or so. Larry Holmes, who since he's 40 years old, has fought 23 times, won 20 of those matches. And in that time, by the way, he's gone 12 rounds several times, 10 rounds a number of times. So he has been the distance as an older fighter, but that wasn't at 52.
And when you're 52, you're going to take some time off in the fight. Use some angles, hold up, tie up.
Now Butterbean staying in there, maybe trying to get Holmes to come in so he can land that right hand. Holmes is jabbing away. In many ways, this fight being fought in slow motion.
Right now it's the anticipation of a fight.
Holmes doesn't want to throw the right hand because he knows Butterbean's going to throw it.
Butterbean didn't gamble to get out of the corner.
He
has to gamble there.
This is an odd moment in boxing.
He's motioning for Holmes to come in.
Butterbean laughing. He's not hurt by that right hand, but he's also not throwing anything. And if you let the other guy throw 10 punches and you don't throw any, it's going to be hard to win unless you knock him out. Holmes moved backwards. Butterbean, of course, would love to have everybody stand right in front of him and fight, but it doesn't work out that way all the time. And round two has been an effective round for Holmes because Butterbean hasn't really thrown many punches. With right hand, overhand right.
Right hand in there.
And a backhand by Butterbean in his zeal to get something in. So round two ends with Butterbean on the attack and Larry Holmes having done well.
Butterbean showing that he'll have to land a very high percentage of punches if he's going to be that selective in when he throws them.
Murray Sutherland, let's listen into this corner.
Anytime
Watch Butterbean backed up. Watch the left hand. Watch the invitation right hand. Come on, Larry. I'm right on in. Right after that, Larry Holmes did, by the way.
We head into the third round of this matchup between Butterbean and Larry Holmes. It is scheduled for 10. And the interesting thing about that replay was when Butterbean motioned in, Holmes moved all the way to his left to give him something different to think about. Larry Holmes is the absolute definition of the word veteran and clever veteran.
So many tricks, whether with the jab or tying up or even just leading with a shot that you wouldn't expect, moving a different way.
Dave, I think it's safe to say Larry Holmes thought that by now in this fight he would have landed a lot more jabs and straight right hands and would have Butterbean, you know, with red blotches all over his face, maybe some blood, and would have him intimidated, and that is not the case right now.
Butterbean is not afraid of him, and Larry Holmes is not really pushed in terms of forcing that pace. Had he come at Butterbean more, he might have been able to try and accomplish that. But Butterbean is there, and they're both waiting on their shots.
And I'm not sure you could give either of those first 2 rounds to Butterbean.
No.
So if Larry Holmes could keep this up for 10 rounds, he'd probably win a decision easily.
But does he want to win it that way?
Yeah.
I think he wants to make a statement that we're on 2 entirely different skill levels.
Yes, precisely, Dave. But he may not have a choice. We're in round 3, halfway through the round. It is much like the first couple where now there's Butterbean trying to jab his way in.
Well, the curiosity is there, and it's there as these guys stare at each other. For Butterbean, it's a one-punch opportunity he's looking at. He's waiting to pull the trigger. And Larry Holmes waiting to fire his jab at him.
And he came with the right hand there, did Holmes, but it was short. That one got there.
Right hand lead.
Butterbean shakes his head and says, okay, nice, trying to let Larry know he didn't get hurt.
He turned Butterbean into a lefty right there. He basically fired a right hand lead as you would against the southpaw, and it surprised Butterbean.
The difference between this Larry Holmes and the one of even 5 or 6 years ago is when Butterbean rushes in, instead of being able to counterpunch, he's only able to move away. Larry Holmes, who at the age of 43, mind you, fought for the heavyweight championship against Evander Holyfield and took him 12 tough rounds and very nearly won that fight. Did beat Ray Mercer at the age of 42, who was the WBO title holder.
And he was right in there a couple of years later with Oliver McCall.
Yeah, and it lost by 1 point in 1995. So, along with George Foreman, probably the perfect example of heavyweights who somehow find a way to be effective at a later age. That'll do it for the 3rd round.
At some point, as they get into the middle rounds, somebody will have to gamble. They've sat there. Now Butterbean, yeah, he hasn't been blown out of the fight. He now has to step it up.
If he's going to win, he does.
Yeah.
Now he could, at the end of the fight, then do what he has done on other occasions when he's lost, say, well, the guy wouldn't fight me. But, you know, where will that get him? So we'll see. Take a look at Butterbean getting instructions from Murray Sutherland, a 32-year-old from Jasper, Alabama.
Well, Larry Holmes in the last round again, landing the telling shot. Look at that. Right hand lead. Butterbean says, that's right, man. Good shot. Get another look at it. There's a couple jabs by Holmes as he's very effective there.
Well, that replay is this fight in microcosm. Some jabs, some right hands from Larry Holmes. The only thing we missed were a few overhand rights from Butterbean, and they have been very few and far between. We're heading into round 4. Larry Holmes in the white trunks, Butterbean in the stars and stripes. As if you needed me to tell you that, huh?
A microcosm in another respect, though, that they were the 2 jabs and they were the 2 right hands from that last round.
Exactly. This one is scheduled for 10. Now, as we get past this round, we will reach, if we do, we'll reach a round that Butterbean has never seen as a professional prize fighter. Now, Larry Holmes is mixing up his jabs.
Well, you know, now, for both guys, the curiosity should be wearing off. They didn't know how it would all come together. 52 years of age for Holmes, the big age concession to Butterbean, the big experience concession from Butterbean to Holmes. Well, now, you know what? Butterbean is still here. He has to sit there and prove he wants to try and take this fight now, and Larry Holmes needs to step it up as well.
Holmes landing pretty well in this round, tying up Butterbean every time Butterbean gets close to him. Again, Holmes using the jab. Butterbean has been so sparing in the punches he has thrown and has not been willing to rush Holmes, at least not convincingly. So the 32-year-old has stayed on the outside.
In so many of the fights he's had, he would land one shot and effectively turn the fight and end it. But he needs more than that here.
There's a left hook by Larry Holmes. Hey, there's a punch we haven't even seen in this fight. I don't think we've seen one left hook before that one.
It's there for him along with the jab.
Under a minute left to go. Holmes controlling this round. Jabs and right hands. Butterbean not able to really do much.
A rare double jab and a right hand.
Holmes keeping him at bay with the jab. Do you think Butterbean may feel like if he can take him to later rounds, he's the one that can get it done against the 52-year-old?
Yet, the ironic part is his best zone would be the first 4 rounds based on his history. So it's quite an ironic thing there for Butterbean. He's got the age, but he doesn't have the rounds.
It's kind of like watching a Nero Wolf show unfold. There's mysteries here. You have to unlock them, and it's working at its own pace. Seconds remaining here in round number 4. I never thought I'd make a Nero Wolf analogy in boxing. That's something I haven't done in 22 years. I never thought it would happen.
Does that mean every commercial has to get in before we get to the end of this saga?
Exactly. Round 4 is over with. And they both head back to their corners. And Larry Holmes knows that he's ahead in this fight. I would think that Butterbean also knows. Let's hear what they're saying. We move into round number 5. Larry Holmes not off his stool yet. Don't know if there's any foreshadowing in that. And they have to really wipe up the water. There is an ocean there in the corner of Larry Holmes. So we head into round number 5, a round I hasten to point out that Butterbean has never seen as a professional. He has fought 4 rounds and 4 rounds only. See how he reacts. Holmes starting out with 3 pretty aggressive jabs, not jabs in which he's falling back.
You see that when Larry Holmes gets the jab in, Butterbean has to regroup. He gambles and takes his one shot. He took 5, he landed 1.
Butterbean has been programmed by Murray Sutherland that whenever Larry Holmes throws a right hand, you have to throw your own, and it's been effective. Holmes complaining to the referee about something, maybe the backhanding.
Now for Butterbean, the question is, can he throw his right hand without waiting for Larry Holmes's?
Chris Willison, the referee, who has not had too much to do here really, except break a few clinches. And round 5, much like the previous rounds, Holmes on the outside landing. from time to time. Now starting, there's a little swelling and some redness around the left eye of Butterbean, maybe even a cut, Dave.
And that's the jab of Larry Holmes at work.
He thought this would happen earlier, but in the 5th round it has happened.
And that does not bode well for Butterbean, and it makes him have to gamble more.
Butterbean clubbing left hooks. There's a little swelling underneath the right eye of Larry Holmes. Here comes Butterbean. He's wailing away now.
There's that windmilling.
Holmes holds on.
Well, you know, we've seen nothing of Butterbean to the body as his eye starts to show the effects now as he's officially cut.
So here in round 5, cut over the eye of Butterbean. Butterbean has looked a little fatigued, did have his moments where he was able to at least throw some of those windmill-type power punches that have knocked out other people. And now look at Holmes like a laser beam. That jab is on that left eye. I mean, he's hitting it every time.
And the redness is a target.
And now they bang heads. And I'm going to tell you what, that's a danger for Holmes. Because the way Butterbean's coming in, the way it has to come in, those heads are clashing. And I think Holmes was stunned a little bit by the clash of heads there. Seconds remaining here in round 5. But again, a good round for Larry Holmes. So Larry Holmes looking for his corner. Got a little confused for a second there.
Given the efficiency of Larry Holmes' jab, that cut is in a bad spot.
You're standing out there waiting on me, just chipping up. You know that's what he's going to do. Don't stand out there. Push him back.
Well, they were both leaning forwards. We saw some heads come together. Here's Butterbean coming in. There are the heads right there. On the cheek of Larry Holmes came Butterbean's head.
And you see him grimacing. So we head into round number 6. We're past the halfway point in this 10-rounder. Larry Holmes throws a right hand with some power behind it against Butterbean.
And no answer, as in other times where Butterbean had used that as a key to fire back his right hand.
This is our main event. 52-year-old former champion Larry Holmes in the white trunks. Butterbean in the stars and stripes, now complaining about Holmes kind of cuffing him with the jab or leaving that hand out there.
Now he's starting to talk to Larry Holmes.
He wants Holmes to engage him, of course. It's not like Holmes is running, but he's not standing right in front of him. Good jab by Butterbean. Wow.
No stiff one.
That might be one of his best punches of the fight. Holmes is kind of leaning in, and he got hit with that jab. Butterbean is chatting away in that ring.
He's trash talking now. He said, come on, among other things.
Yeah. Perhaps more salty than his left hook lands by Butterbean. So
The eye a problem, too, for Butterbean.
Butterbean is emboldened, and now he's got Holmes in the corner. Lands it right to the body, but he steps right back. He knows there's danger there. Again, the jab of Holmes getting in. Butterbean may be talking, but he's not rushing Larry Holmes, that's for sure. We are in the 6th round of this 10-rounder. It's a fight that has no knockdowns. A cut over the left eye of Butterbean, a slight abrasion under the right eye of Larry Holmes, a swelling. Big right hand by Holmes.
That was a sweet shot.
And Butterbean stays on the outside. And for all the talking in this round, it's been Holmes, it's been Butterbean, it's been Holmes doing the landing. The 52-year-old champion is zeroing in on that eye and maybe zeroing in on Butterbean. The crowd's encouraging him. Bean comes forward, Holmes parries all those punches, and now he's back on the attack. you can feel Larry Holmes wants to land something really solid against Butterbean here.
You can sense it. How the jab is setting it up. He's already landed the right hand several times now. Good flush shots. The eye becoming a worse problem for Butterbean. Getting dramatically worse.
In this round, it has become more swollen. There is more blood. You see a good shot of it there. Butterbean standing in the center of the ring, just kind of looking around, waiting for Holmes to get within range.
Butterbean's corner will be tested between rounds.
You know what's interesting? Butterbean now starting to jab a little bit. That would have been a good idea earlier. So round 6 comes to a conclusion. Larry Holmes heads back to his corner. That man, Butterbean, goes back to his corner where they're going to have to do some serious work on the cut.
Well, the Larry Holmes jab against an unprotected eye and the right hand, no match at all. He kept on going. He kept peppering that eye with the jab in that round, and it opened up substantially.
Take it. You come through, you take it, you get out. Get some of that water. You got it.
Put the water on the mat, please.
We head into the 7th round. Butterbean is now way past the territory he's ever been in. He's never gone past 4. Larry Holmes went 10 rounds last in 1997 against Maurice Harris, in which he won a split decision that was very controversial. Butterbean, of course, only has fought 4 rounds. Right hand gets in by Larry Holmes, and he steps away.
And when he steps far away, it's a big assignment for Butterbean to close ground on.
Butterbean has not really been able to rush him effectively. A couple times he has rushed him, but it hasn't really worked out well. And Butterbean has not been able to do that very well in this fight.
It's an ironic twist. It's usually the younger fighter who makes the older fighter use his legs. In this case, Larry Holmes making Butterbean use his.
Yeah, exactly. Right hand gets in by Holmes after a jab by Butterbean. Now Butterbean is jabbing more, Dave. That's giving Holmes the chance to counter him with the right hand.
An effective weapon, you would think, for Butterbean, but Larry Holmes is very good on his timing. You've got a double jab if you want to take away the right hand counter.
The crowd chanting Larry Holmes' name for all of Butterbean's popularity, and he is a very popular figure. This crowd, I think, came in here with the idea of a certain attachment to Larry Holmes. Halfway through round number 7 in this, our main event, Butterbean against Larry Holmes. You know, Butterbean is, I mentioned, he's a very popular figure, especially in Las Vegas. He does a commercial for what else? A buffet out there, of course. And he has parlayed his 4-round success into a marketing bonanza. But now he's facing a guy who's peppering him.
And a veteran who can pretty much throw the jab in his sleep and has the movement, has the right hand behind it, and just has so many different ring skills. For Butterbean, he has to close ground cheaply and then try to get off.
You know, lost in this, and look at Butterbean, he just kind of shakes his head like, oh man.
What are you doing way over there?
Yeah, come on back over here. Lost in all of this, I have to say, and granted, Butterbean has always had limited skills and limited mobility and all the rest of it. Lost in this is, this 52-year-old guy finds a way to not get hit by this big, powerful heavyweight, however limited his skills, and finds a way to pepper him with the jab and the straight right hand. It's not bad for a 52-year-old.
Reflexes haven't gone that far.
This is not to suggest that he would be doing this against the top heavyweight, but nevertheless, he's able to do it here. This round is winding down, and time may be running out for Butterbean unless he can land something big. Larry Holmes said to us the other day that I don't want this fight to go long. I want to get him out of there in 3 rounds. That hasn't happened.
Finds himself in a longer fight than he expected to be in.
8th round, big guy, 8th round.
But it's more by what he did than what Butterbean was done. done.
Right? And don't save it. Get through your nose out through your mouth. Put the spit bucket out there. Roll.
Eric's still feet out of there all right.
Drink.
5 seconds. All right, man. You got to make a brawl out of it now. Take control. Either you're going to knock him out or you're going to get knocked out. Go and get it.
We move into round number 8 of this 10-round match. Larry Holmes has been 10 rounds 13 times since the age of 40. I'm not sure I can remember. I'm not sure I can remember a fighter that could have that statistic. Nice right hand by Holmes. He has not really hurt Butterbean with any of those right hands, although they've been very good punches.
Good solid shots. They've set the tempo for the fight, and they've disrupted any sense of rhythm that Butterbean might have. So for Butterbean, no reason not to go for broke. You can get a lot out of the fight by swarming, by being in it, by firing punches. However it works out, fire at the guy.
You almost have to if you're him. And Butterbean loathes to come in because he does get nailed with those counter right hands.
Better to lose by a knockout in which you took a stand. The worst scenario is a drubbing from a 52-year-old.
Absolutely. Chris Warwickson, the referee, is doing a good job because he doesn't rush in to break the fighters when they get close. So he gives Butterbean a little bit of a chance to throw some punches, and that's good. And so many referees these days don't do that.
You do have to have a fair evaluation of how each fighter goes about his style. Let them fight their style.
Almost halfway through this round, there's Butterbean rushing in, and Holmes walks back. You know, Butterbean can't complain too much because it's not as if Larry Holmes is running. And, you know, if you can't catch a 52-year-old guy who takes 5 steps back, I got to tell you, you're not doing a very good job.
In an 18 by 18-foot ring, which makes it even better.
Yeah, this is not, we report to you again, folks, this is not a huge ring. I've seen smaller, but I've seen a lot bigger. So Butterbean got his wish in terms of the size of this ring.
Well, for all the talk that Larry had about, I want to end this early, for the most part, he's been fighting for a decision.
Yeah, and I think he thought he would have more. He's landed about 5 or 6 really good right hands, but they have not really done much. There's another one to the head of Butterbean. But I mean, the jabs just keep on coming.
But watch, Butterbean has to reload and then fire in there. It's a tough road for him.
Holmes just pushed him off. About a half-minute left to go here in round number 8, and time is wasting for Butterbean unless we're astonished at the way this fight is scored.
Butterbean threw 3 punches and tried to get his right hand.
Now Butterbean is yelling at the referee. But you know what? Why didn't he chase Larry Holmes when he fell backwards? I hate to break it.
There's nothing in the tank to chase.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Holmes fell backwards, and Butterbean, instead of going after him, yelled at the referee and said, "Why is he going backward?" Well, go after him. Round 8 is coming to a close, and it does with a very frustrated Butterbean, as this man, Larry Holmes, has found a way to avoid his big punches and jab, 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 jab.
Relax, good job. Nice round, big job. Nice round. 2 more rounds. Put your nose out through your mouth. Don't get careless.
The only way you're going to win this fight is knock him out. You got to knock that man out, and the only way you're going to knock him out is go after him.
Good advice from Bruce Sutherland.
5 seconds.
Got some more back there from Art Dora, who's been with him since his Tough Man days. They go back 10 years.
So we head into round 9, and if you didn't hear it, Murray Sutherland said to Larry Holmes, or to Butterbean, you have to knock this man out. The only way you're going to do it is by going after him. Now Butterbean complaining about Holmes using his arm pushing out, but instead of complaining, he's got to be going after Larry Holmes.
In a fight in which very little has been called, you have to have a sense of the perspective. If the ref is letting you guys decide it, then you can't look for calls. Larry Holmes could turn 18 by 18 to 25 by 25 if he wants.
Apparently he has tonight. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And of course, this was not what Butterbean hoped for. He hoped to be able to get closer and do more damage. And yes, in truth, has Larry Holmes fought a somewhat safety-first fight in some respects? That's true.
Yep.
But it isn't like he's at 52, he can't exactly run around the ring. And he hasn't done so. Now, Butterbean's complaining because he's pushing his arm out. But, you know, all Holmes is doing is pushing his arm out to jab.
It hasn't been a dirty fight. There haven't been low blows. The whole thing for this fight for Butterbean was, could he catch Larry Holmes?
And he hasn't been able to. And could he hit him with something? Could he avoid these jabs and straight right hands? And that has not happened. Butterbean's focus really needs to be right now getting on the inside. And he's trying, I guess, but it just didn't happen. And the number of punches from Butterbean has been so low in this fight.
Good example right there of the dilemma. He tried to fire a hook. Larry Holmes sticks out a jab. Hook interrupted. Never gets there.
Butterbean, the 32-year-old king of the 4-rounders, is in the 9th round. He's never been that far. He just took a big right hand from Larry Holmes. Is Holmes emboldened enough to go after him a little bit? Butterbean missing with the left hook, and I mean missing by 3 feet. Now Butterbean steps back, so he's going backwards and taking 2 strong. Now Larry Holmes is really nailing him with the jabs.
4 in a row.
He takes 2 steps back and then lands the right hand. So Larry Holmes is looking a little bit like the Larry Holmes of old. And of course, if you ever wanted a perfect foil for that, Butterbean would be it. Half a minute left to go here in round number 9, with 1 more round left to go here in this match between Butterbean and Larry Holmes.
A tough spot to be in when you need a knockout. And the guy you need it against has so many different ways to fight.
And there is Butterbean flailing away. You see that part of his problem, of course, his technique is not his forte, and he just couldn't get those punches in. 9 rounds are in the books, and what we have to show for it is that cut over the eye of Butterbean. Murray Sutherland giving him a talking to.
On his back, on his back. You got to just go like a madman. All you can do. 3 minutes, you stay right on his case. You're going to get hit.
9th round action. Butterbean trying to back Larry Holmes up. The left hook comes up a bit short, and the right hand is knocked down by Larry Holmes. So you try to throw punches, and he has ways to stop
So
it.
you hit him, you up his rope, throw the loop right hand, and use up.
So we head into the 10th round. Larry Holmes is trying to go 10 rounds for the 14th time since he turned 40. And Butterbean, for the very first time, of course, in the 10th round, he'd only been 4 to this point. You know, Butterbean, of his 68 opponents, 20 had losing records and 13 were 500 records. So it just tells you that, you know, you're up to another level even when you're in against the guy that's older. Now here Butterbean backs in the corner hoping that he can force Holmes to make a mistake and he can nail him. I guess that's the reason for this.
Well, it was a novelty aspect his career. This is his highest or second highest payday, right up there with Peter McNeely, getting 6 figures. This was the place that had to try to take his career because there was nowhere else to go on that other circuit.
And you know what's amazing? If you pick an older fighter to fight, I guess the one you don't want to pick is Larry Holmes, because as an older fighter, he has continually made younger fighters, may I add, ones better than Butterbean, look bad. He's doing it again tonight, but here comes Butterbean with a last-ditch effort. There's under 2 minutes left to go, and that's how long he has to make something dramatic happen. Good jab, and Holmes moves away from the right hand. Butterbean lands a couple of right hands. He's flailing away. Holmes with his hand on the ropes just trying to parry whatever Butterbean throws and not get hit with the Butterbean head. And there comes the right hand from Holmes. It's coming, folks. Butterbean having his best moments, even if not a lot is landing.
He's saved in the stamina, whatever he has for now.
Oh, that's the, oh my. Well, it didn't hurt Butterbean. And we now know that the best right hand Larry Holmes can throw, even in the 10th round, won't hurt Butterbean, which is a little surprising in a way.
Yeah, because he had everything on it, and Butterbean continued to walk through it, but just not getting to Larry Holmes. Minimal output. Those
were the two best right hands Holmes has thrown in this fight, and you figure if he throws them around 10, they're going to hurt the guy. But still, Larry Holmes is getting it done, and the crowd is chanting his name. And he's got things going his own way, does Holmes, here in the 10th round, after Butterbean had mounted something of a charge earlier in the round. If this is the last fight Larry Holmes has, and you would think it might be, looks like he will go out a winner. Oh, left hook. Sends Holmes down. That's called a knockdown appropriately. Sends him against the ropes, and that's the appropriate call by the referee. That is the right call. He did the right thing.
Ends with a little bit more curiosity.
So, an interesting moment. Larry Holmes, we think, probably won this fight. Butterbean's walking around the ring saying that he won it.
Well, a curiosity fight, and it's self-contained within that realm.
It's well put.
Butterbean will have this to hang his hat on.
Well, that was, I assume that was after the punch. Let's take a look. Guess what? That was
raising shot.
Let's see.
Gets hit there.
You know what?
No,
not a knockdown. I stand corrected. I thought the punch had landed and it was a knockdown, and I stand corrected. That was not, should not have been a knockdown. Larry Holmes just plain slipped, tripped backwards and fell, and he was right. It wasn't a knockdown, but it was called one. Still, I can't imagine that affecting the scoring enough to give Butterbean the fight.
Might avoid the shutout.
Could, yes. Even though he was getting destroyed in that round. So, Butterbean made it through the 10th round.
I tell you what they're doing, buddy.
He's got a little neck there in the eye.
Don't worry about it. Give me the bucket. Here. Soak it. You're a 10-round fighter champion. Knock him on his ass.
So as we await this decision, there is Larry Holmes, who at 52, we think got the job done. Was it a scintillating fight? Not necessarily. It had its moments, but we'll find out the scoring. In fact, Michael Buffer is in the center of the ring. Let's go to him right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of Darryl DeCroy Promotions, we go to the scorecards. Phil Kronberg scores at 98-91. Peggy McEwen has it 96-93, and Vaughn LaPrade has it 97-92. All for the winner by unanimous decision, the boxing legend, former heavyweight champion of the world, the Eastern Assassin, Larry
Holmes. So Larry Holmes wins a unanimous decision, even a little closer than I think we